then speaking about networks and streaming deals, TNA signed a streaming deal with WWE's parent company, Endeavor. Big boy moves for TNA, Endeavor Streaming. And man, we've already seen Impact talent show up in WWE. We know Trinity still got a close affinity. Nick Aldis and Mickie James are still there with close relationships and bonds. What do you know? TNA Wrestling working with WWE, becoming a bit of a feeder system. Maybe they can, if a Johnny Gargano's like, hey, man, I'm not really, hey, well, why don't you do a tour of Impact? We know Nick Khan was open to letting Bryan Danielson go to fucking New Japan and do tours there as part, if he stayed with WWE, he was willing to do that. But then Danielson went with AEW. So I think Nick Khan will be open to, yeah, let's work with fucking TNA. Like, why not? Anthem are big movers and shakers. And Endeavor Streaming is just, they're going to help push this, just being under that umbrella, man. Big boy moves for TNA. Shout them out. Dixie Carter was backstage at a Raw when Bruce Pritchard was running a Raw there, when Vince and them were, Nick Khan and them were meeting with Warner. And they're trying to keep it under wraps. And they were all like, oh, no, they weren't meeting with Warner. But then apparently it turns out they're meeting with Warner. And Dixie Carter was there and shout her out. And I'm not saying get her involved, but just, I don't know. She always wanted to be on TV, man. She could be a TV authority figure or something. Maybe we move on from that era. But TNA and WWE, man, them working together is just what's best for business and good for TNA, man. They're making big strides and moves. Final Resolution, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is their last ever Impact show before they officially become TNA. And they had some great little matches on it. Giselle Shaw turned, what did she do? She turned heel on Deonna Purrazzo, who lost in the main event, I want to say, or no, it wasn't quite the main event, but Deonna Purrazzo lost the match, and then Giselle snapped on her, so Purrazzo's going babyface, which is cool. Juggernaut Jordynne Grace and Trinity teamed up, and they're gonna face each other. They won that match. We had PCO won, Jake something fucking won. He's great. He looks like $1 million. Sheldon Jean. So Kenny King asked for his Impact release. He was granted it. He took off. Who knows where he's gonna show up? But Frankie Kazarian took on Sheldon Jean. Beat him. We had the ABC took on Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, which is a weird team because he's been teaming with Moose and shit. So I don't know, but ABC retained their belts. They're super over. They're the baby faces. They need to go to NXT or something. We had the Rascals. They were blind. They blindside ABC. And so Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz are going for those belts. What else, man? We had Zack Sabre Jr. team up with, Josh Alexander in the main event. Jody Threat beat Alicia Edwards real swift, and that was awesome. Jody Threat got a nice hometown pop there. What else? We had fucking Tommy Dreamer take on Diener for the Digital Media Championship. Tommy Dreamer's blowed up. He's a chunky man. Shout you out, brother. No hate. He's a fucking legend. They keep that belt on him because of Busted Open Radio, but really, goddamn, man, that belt... I don't know. You could put it on someone, man. I don't know. It just seems weird that he's beating all your guys like Diener and shit. You know, he's bald and he's a little chunky. I don't know. It is what it is, man. Santino Marella turns the Trey Miguel singles match with Mike Bailey into a tag match. So Trey Miguel and Wentz take on Mike Bailey and Trent Seven. And then that's when Scott D'Amore, so they win the match, right? They're calling it Speedball Mountain. And Scott D'Amore comes out and goes, yeah, we're going to continue this tradition of signing a great talent to TNA. And Trent Seven, you were the first new TNA Wrestling signee. They offered him a deal. It looked like a shoot because they were really excited and telling him the stories. And Trent looked like he looked very excited. And that's a great guy to sign, man. He can impart knowledge and he can still go. And so, Trent Seven is TNA Wrestling official. And shout out Scott D'Amore, man, making big money moves. What else happened? So basically, there was Jason Hutch got beat by Jake something. And then we had Rhino versus Moose. And then Rhino beat Moose by disqualification, but then it got turned to a street fight. So then Moose beat Rhino. So it is what it is, right? But they were just spearing and goring. And then, yeah, we had the main event, which saw the Motor City Machine Guns take on Alexander and Zack Sabre. Kind of random. Saber's usually playing a heel around the world. I think Sabre and Alexander are going to square off, or Osprey and Alexander are going to rematch, or something like that. But TNA, they're doing the goddamn thing right. We'll give a round of applause. That's my brief little review of the last ever Impact Final Resolution show. They are now TNA Wrestling, and I think Impact Plus is gone, and I think there's the TNA Plus app, but it is also, they are streaming through Endeavor fucking streaming. So shout them out, man. And the Motor City Machine Guns, you know, they have the X Division and World titles. And they're tagging together, and I don't know, good for them. If it's me though, I don't know. I'm putting that title on, maybe that world title, maybe back on Josh Alexander, but I've been saying that for a while, but that's just me. So